Welcome to Set and Forget Traders, where precision meets patience. This isn't guesswork, it's strategy, structure, and the smart money's roadmap. If you're tired of chasing trades, strap in. We'll show you how to trade like the banks and not against them. If the market noise has been costing you money and peace of mind, you are in the right place. Hit the subscribe button. This is where structure meets mastery. Welcome to our weekly analysis of GBPUSD, and we are glad to help you and be your leading consulting firm based on your trading. So this is the daily time frame of the last week, and this being the demand chart, it's going to allow us to know the psychology of the buyers in the market, and will be able to sync so that you can be able to be in one mind and in one purpose with the buyers. The supply chart, on the other hand, will help us to know where the sellers are coming in and where they're going to go out. So briefly, we're going to show you the usefulness of this demand chart. We were able to spot the buyers taking profit on the lower time frame demand zone, and after they did take their profit, price did fall. The price fell over 3,500. If I'm not wrong, price fell over 4,000 points drop after the buyers are taking their partials from the lower time frame demand zone 1.35923. We did have a good sell. We secured our profits, and shortly later the price started again rallying up. Again, where did the buyers take their profits? At the same lower time frame demand zone. It has been really helpful for us. The lower time frame demand zone 1.35823. It's not supposed to be on the daily time frame. It's supposed to be on the 4-hour, 1 hour, 30 minutes, 15 minutes lower time frame. But we are deciding to highlight it on the higher time frame so that you see we have all the tools needed to find or to resonate with our decisions. Because when you see on this lower time frame demand zone, they are the proximal and the diastole line. In this case scenario, this 1.35823 represent the demand zone between the previous demand zone to the next demand zone, proximal. So to say, 1.33476 has to pass through 1.35823 to go to 1.37704. All right, and 1.33786 down here has to pass through. Let me show you on the 4 time frame because it's quite clear there. Has to go through 1.36498 to go to 1.37354. That's why we call it lower time frame demand zone. So again, we had a very good hit of the pips, around 1900 points drop, and we could see price coming down again. But on Friday, we had very big news. All right, the news really influenced the technicals structure of the market, and we saw a rally up in price. So the news, the fundamentals and the technicals really have to marry each other, but in essence, the fundamentals doesn't have to obey the technicals. But as you well know, you cannot break laws, you can only bend rules. So this is like a rule. This is not law. The structure itself does not been broken, because how did we find the entries on this day, on this setup, and on this setup? Those are called laws, but rules are made by the fundamentals. So what are we expecting in the coming week? Our points are this way. We expect a drop in price, or if the price just goes above 1.35823, we are going to exit our sentiments on bullish. Yeah, so our stop loss is actually above this level, not where the price is. Yeah, our stop loss is just above the lower time frame demand zone. Yeah, but if the price just close below that level, we're going to continue selling it. We're going to continue pushing for a lower price up to the previous demand zone at proximal line 1.33786 and the distal line at 1.33476. Yeah, that's our anticipation of the coming week. So let's check on the supply chart to see what we expect in the coming week. Again, sellers, there are no sellers inside the current order block. The sellers are only placed at this supply level, and so if you anticipate to sell, your sell orders should be able to accommodate price coming back to the previous supply zone, so that you might be able to be risk off. Yeah, because there are no sellers where you're thinking there are. Sellers are above the supply zone. So any price movement above that supply zone, you should consider it as a invalidation of our setup. But we expect to sell again. We expect to short price from the existing level back to the pivot order block, which is at around 33,744. That's our entry will be at 36,093. Yeah, so be keen to take part into this trend so that you might be able to make money off the markets. Yeah, that's a very clean. Our analysis doesn't have too many levels, too many support and resistance. We can see we don't have any supply level at the existing supports. So we expect the price to fall. And we expect if sellers are coming up, we have already taken consideration of the risk management around 700 points away from the current price, but you're going to push price lower into the previous pivot 1.33744, and if it closes below, we are going to have a very big drop of price into the next supply zone. That's the same thing we had here, the same thing we're expecting again here. Just be keen with our analysis, because where we talk, that's where the market listens. All right, so be keen with our analysis so that you might be able to make money off the table. Yeah, lastly, we're going to check on the moving average analysis. This is the retailer's moving average, and the monthly candle was first stiff with a support around the area 1.31689, and nothing else. We expect buyers maybe to push price again higher, because the next resistance is around 1.38711. On the weekly time frame, we saw again the buyers resting, the price resting last week on the support, which this week again we saw what we were fearing. The market really rallied up. Yeah, and on the daily time frame, we were expecting bearish. We were expecting support at 1.3360, but I think the weekly time frame was the carrier of the news. On the retailers, on the institutional, this is the institutional moving average. On the monthly time frame, if the price closes below this resistance, the last week of the month is this week. So if the price closes below this resistance at 1.34943, we expect sellers coming the coming week. And on the weekly time frame, we saw that the previous week on Friday, sometimes last week, the market closed above, but this week the market has closed just small point above the resistance. So let's wait and see. Patient space. On the daily time frame, the Thursday candle had closed below prompting us to believe that the market is going to go down. But the news realigned the structure of the market. The last allocation is the smooth out moving average. On the monthly time frame, the buyers got the support. On the weekly time frame, you can see what's happening. Yeah, we expect resistance at this level, 1.3806, and then price to come low again to 1.31423. This is a very classic price action. Yeah, you're making money by teaching the people who will become new to the market to see that nothing happens by chance, but by articulation. Yeah, don't get angry. You see, even on the Thursday candle, the price was signaling that it is exhausted. The sellers had exhausted their orders. Yeah, this is the most smooth out moving average that gives you clear entries and exits. Yeah, what do you expect? Share your sentiments on the comment section, and we'll be glad to follow up with our keen observation. We are really grateful for you being up to this level, and cheers. We hope to see a very profitable coming new week. Lastly, we're going to check on the fundamentals of the week so that we might see what we didn't see on the charts, and we might see which days of the week we are going to be able to anticipate the volatility. So let's go into the other side of the analysis, being the fundamental analysis. So this is the GBPUSD economic calendar and what we are looking to expect for the coming week. So on Monday, we really don't have much per se. It will be the late summer bank holiday for GBP, so less orders for the pound. Then we have USD taking more news on Monday. The new home sales on the Dallas manufacturing index being released on Monday, and then when you're going to Tuesday, nothing much except the speech from the Fed member Bakken, and maybe the consumer confidence, which will highlight the major fundamentals on Tuesday. On Wednesday, we are going to expect again a speech from the Fed Bakken. Yeah, nothing much on Tuesday, and Wednesday again. So the major fundamentals will be observed starting on Thursday and on Friday. So say that on Thursday, nothing much on the GBP again. But on the USD, we are going to see the jobless claims data being released. The GDP price index again being released. And the growth rate, the GDP growth rate being released again. And then we have also the corporate profits again being released. And then we have the pending home sales being released. I'm anticipating that Thursday will be a very big economic day on the fundamentals, which will affect the market. On Friday, the GBP will have releases on the nationwide housing prices, and they're expecting the housing prices to increase. And then the next, we have the nationwide, the housing prices only on the Great Britain pound. But on the USD, we have a wholesome packaged releases to be released to the public. We have the price index, we have the goods trade balance, we have the price index to YY, the wholesale inventory, the personal income, the retail inventories, the core PCE price index, we have the personal spending data to be released, and we close the week. And that's the day we close the month of August. Yeah, that will be the last trading day on the month of August, because on Monday will be the 1st of September. So this week we don't have much data per se. Why? Because it's the last week of the month of August, which by default time will play we will be expecting to observe the monthly candle so that we see how the monthly close will be priced. And we expect on Thursday and on Friday to be the major highlighted day that the fundamentals will be taking shape. So thank you for joining us, and just a reminder that this week that we're coming into is the last week of the month of August. So the market might reprice itself so that it might find a good balance to close the month at. Stay blessed and have yourself a very fabulous, peaceful week. May the good Lord guide your path, assist you in providing the best money management skills on your portfolio. And don't lose yourself, don't lose your mind. Minimize your leverage and make sure you can be able to see the coming month of September. Have a good week. Set and forget.